Hello everyone, this is Mavic. For today's episode, I'll give you a walkthrough of my butterfly and cut flower garden. Hello everyone! And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button for more gardening, cooking, and travel tips videos. When was the last time you saw butterflies? If you have been living in the city, maybe it's been a while. That was the case for me about 8 years ago and until we moved to our current house. When we moved in, we started buying houseplants little by little and we slowly built an outdoor vegetable garden. I was growing tomatoes, cucumbers, and a few more vegetables, and that first year, I saw a lot of blooms, but only a few turned into fruits, and some of the fruits died before maturing. I guess this is a common problem that urban gardeners face today, the lack of pollinators. You know, pollinators are nearly as important as sunlight, soil, and water to the success of your edible garden. Hundreds of crops such as tomatoes, cucumbers, lemons, and eggplants depend on pollinators. So for a few years, I had to resort to hand pollination, but I knew I had to do something about it. I can't be manually pollinating all the time. And then I came across this butterfly garden in the largest organic community garden here in Georgia. They have flowering plants in different colors and shapes that attract a variety of pollinators. So this is where I got my inspiration to create my own butterfly garden. I have ways to go, but I thought of showing you what I got so far. So in my garden, you'll see a combination of flowers that feed our pollinators and flowers that I'm growing for flower arrangement purposes. For example, these hydrangeas or million flower in the Philippines does not necessarily attract bees, but I am growing them for my dry and fresh cut flower arrangements. So this is white phlox called David, and it has a sweet smell that bees and butterflies love. This grows from mid-spring and is disease resistant and deer resistant too. This is a giant perfection that I started from seeds. They are not as big as I thought they would be because I never got to transfer them to a bigger pot. And here is Big Blue. This is an evergreen perennial that blooms with blue flower spikes during summer. This is so very easy to maintain. And can you see the bees flying around? This is a Russian sage blue jean baby that we recently got. I've been wanting to grow this and I really think that every garden should have this. This is what they look like when they mature and bees love them. These are Shasta daisies. They are popular summer perennial that grow up to 3 feet. These attract bees and butterflies and they are really great for cut flower arrangements too. And this is Ivory butterfly bush. This is another fragrant flower with generous foliage. This butterfly bush will bloom from spring through fall. Beside this ivory butterfly bush is another butterfly bush in a slightly different shape and color. This is blue bee balm. This is another plant with a very long bloom period. This also attracts hummingbirds. Beside it is this autumn Joy Sedum plant that blooms in early summer until early fall. Sedum flowers are great for both drying and fresh cut flower arrangements. I harvested quite a few of these. And the plant beside my autumn Joy Sedum is this Lavender Cascade butterfly bush. This is a vigorous plant that grows up to 8 feet. Just take a look at the flower. It has a lot of nectars, right? And this has been a butterfly magnet in my garden. I actually placed some of them in a flower arrangement too with Shasta daisies and Bee Balm, and I think they look good. Here is another butterfly bush called Harley Queen. It has a reddish-purple flower spikes with variegated leaves. It attracts bees, butterflies, hummingbirds, and birds. This is double Japanese rose carya. This is a fast-growing shrub that produces double golden yellow flowers. They bloom in early spring and continues through winter. This can grow up to 10 feet and can grow really bushy, so we trim this very often. And of course, I also have forget-me-nots and this gorgeous lily yellow diamond that was the star of my garden in early spring. I cut some of the blooms and put them in a vase. Well, I didn't know that the stamens need to be removed because they could stain clothes, so this is something that I need to keep in mind for next year. And this is Tornado Red Coxcomb celosia. This attracted so many pollinators in my garden. If Lily Yellow Diamond was the star of my garden in the spring, this was the star throughout summer. I really wish I planted more. But I have a separate video on how I started these from seeds and some care tips. I've also dried some of them along with straw flowers or everlasting, and I'll post a video of my drying process soon. And these are floss flowers with a mix of red, pink, white, and purple pom-pom shaped flowers that are great for fresh arrangements. So this is the flower that I have been waiting for. So this is everlasting, and this is very popular in the Philippines. So I've tried to grow straw flowers for a few years now, and I'm just so happy that I finally got some blooms. I'll have a separate video on everlasting, on how I started them from seeds to harvesting their seeds for the next season. And I'll also include some drying techniques. So here is a sneak peek of my drying process. And a sneak peek on how I harvest seeds and store them for next season video. So I also have different roses and different hydrangea varieties like so, along with wisterias and other plants that produce bigger blooms, but they're not necessarily inside my fenced or cut flower garden. And my flowers don't bloom at the same time. Some bloom in early spring while some doesn't bloom until in late summer. And that was done on purpose to ensure that we have a steady supply of food for our pollinators during the growing season. And we would like to expand our butterfly garden too. So we bought a few more pollinator-friendly plants yesterday. We'll be putting them in the ground very soon. So that's it for today. I hope you find this video helpful, and I hope this somehow inspires you to grow your own butterfly garden. The next time you see bees and butterflies, thank them. They are an important part of our ecosystem. After all, they often say that bees are responsible for 1 out of every 3 bites of food we eat. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you on my next video. And if you're new to my channel and you like this video, I hope that you would consider subscribing because that would mean so much. Thank you again. Bye!